Happy New Year! It's 2024, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for watching my videos last year. And hopefully, 2024 will be a great year full of great content for you all. Wishing all my subscribers and also the one-off viewers a healthy and happy 2024. For folks getting a new car this year, hopefully the wait times are reduced and your car comes with 2 key fobs. Let's get to the main topic here, and since it's 2024, it's time to review the report card for Toyota and Lexus and see how they did in 2023. It's LSFT here today, and today we're here to look at the Toyota Motor North America 2023 US sales results. So this is really the report card to see how well Toyota Motor North America has done in the United States. So let's look into this. So this is the press release that came out with the information that is interesting to see. Are they doing better than last year? So let's scroll down, and I will skip the highlights because they'll talk about the same thing below. So here we see that they're saying that they've reported year-end sales for 2023 to 2.2 million vehicles. And they're saying it's about 6.6% on volume basis. And based on the daily selling rate, it's about 7%. Because I'm assuming there's 1 day less or 2 days less of selling days, so that's why it's a higher percentage. And when you look at the fourth quarter, they sold 619,661, and that's an increase of 15.4%. So that is a much better result compared to Q1 and Q2, because it seems like overall average, we're talking about 6.6. Now they're at 15.4. So definitely much better results are coming in. And then when you look into December 2023, that's 226,116 vehicles, and that's an increase of 25% compared to last year. That is a lot. So meaning they've done a good job in the last month of the year. So they're saying that Toyota's multi-pathway approach to electrification accelerates in 2023 with even more vehicle choices to meet our customers' lifestyle and budget. So they continue to harp on that their multi-prong approach is the better approach than just going directly to BEVs. And again, some people will agree, some will not agree. So they're saying that 2024, they're going to bring 22 new refresh or special edition vehicles to the showroom. So do we know what those numbers are? Are those vehicles? I don't think so, not yet. So by the end of 2025, they're planning to have an electrified option for every Toyota and Lexus vehicle in the United States. So meaning by 2025, at the end of the year, they're going to electrify every model they have, meaning either they're going to be hybrid-only vehicles or they will have a hybrid option. All right, let's continue to go down and see what they say here. So this is overall the company, Lexus and Toyota. So they're saying that they're projecting that they're going to be the #1 passenger vehicle 12th year consecutive year, 20 of the 21 years. Okay, December sales are up 25%, so they said that already. So you can see that the car division is up 13% and the truck SUV is 39%. Okay, I'm going to skip the fourth quarter results. And now they're saying that they're investing about $16 billion in the US manufacturing operations. So, but that's since 2021, not 1 year. Okay, so let's look at the Toyota division. So they sold 565,800 units. That's up almost 30%. Okay, #1 retail brand in the 12th consecutive year. They're up 17% in December, and car sales are up 14%. Truck sales are up 19.3%. Electrified vehicle sales are up almost 60% based on volume. They're up almost 10% in volume, 9% in cars, 17.7% SUVs, 10.3% in trucks, and 56.4% electrified vehicles. So meaning a lot of hybrids are going out the door. They're saying that Corolla will be projected to be the #1 compact car in America. Camry will be the #1 passenger car for the 22nd consecutive year. The Tacoma will be #1 small pickup America for 19th consecutive year. And the RAV4 is the best-selling SUV in the US for the 8th consecutive year. And I believe the RAV4 will be number one selling model in the Toyota portfolio as well. So then they're saying that there's some of these you don't really need to believe into, because like the GR Corolla, they don't sell them last year, so it's best year for sure. The Corolla Hybrid, Corolla Cross, also best year. The Mirai, surprise, is actually the best year for the Mirai as well. BZ4X, first year, so it doesn't matter. RAV4 Hybrid, best, which means they're selling more hybrids. The Sequoia is best, and the Tundra Hybrid is also the best year ever. All right. Now going down to the Lexus division, which probably most of you joined to watch this is because of this division. So 2023 electrified vehicles, 91,527. That's represents about 28.6% of the total sales volume. All right, the car division's up 9.2%. The truck division is up 120.8%, so they're selling a lot more SUVs than you can imagine. And the electrified vehicles, 97% based on volume. So for the fourth quarter, it's up 59.7%. So the last 3 months, they've been pushing very hard in selling their vehicles. And you can see that the car is up 4.4% and the truck sales are up 80.1%. The quarter electrified sales are up 94.1%. So that's, again, quite high, almost doubled on compared to last year. So then we look into the all-time best year for, okay? So the total electrified vehicle sales, meaning they sold more electrified vehicles. The total luxury utility vehicles, the IS500, best year ever. The NX hybrid is also the best year ever. NX plug-in hybrid, best year ever. So you only compare that to last year, right? And the total NX. So they sold the most NXs this year than they ever did. So since 2014, when they actually start releasing NX, this is the best year. And the RX hybrid also is the best year. All right, so that's the end of this press release, but we're going to go over to my spreadsheet where I've collected all the data for US to see the breakdown and do some analysis and compare it to what I projected last quarter. Follow me on Instagram at LSFT Videos. You can see updates on my experience with the NX 450 Plus, which may not be shown on any future videos. You can also reach out to me via direct messaging if you have any questions on your Lexus. If you like this video, you can provide me feedback in the comments below, like this video, and share it with your friends. This definitely will help me with the YouTube algorithms. Press the subscribe button and bell icon and get notified when new videos show up. And lastly, if you want to support me further, you can provide me a super thanks or visit my Amazon storefront and purchase products from there at no extra cost to you, which is greatly appreciated. And now let's continue with the video. All right, so now moving over to the spreadsheet, now you can see the numbers are here. Okay, so the UX is where I always start. So the UX, 883 units in December. Disappointing, right? Look at that. That's like 883 compared to the best-selling year, 1,933. Hopefully the UX 300H will actually help this a bit, but I'm not sure if that's going to help a lot. But let's look at it. 11,846 is what they sold the whole year. I projected 11,960, so a little bit off, but close enough. Moving over to the IS, so 2019 December, still about 200 short compared to 2020. But if you look at the full year, 22,521, the best of the 5 years here. And based on my projection, it actually outpaced it, but about 200-ish. Not bad. I'm quite surprised that the IS got that much love. Moving down to the ES. So the ES continues to fall. So 51 was the max for the 5 years. Now we're at 39,000. But my projection was 38. So they did better than what we projected here. So 3,873 units in December, which is not too bad, but 5,100 was much better for ES. But again, sedans are slowly dying. People aren't buying them in North America for whatever reason. So we move down to the LS. So LS, again, low selling, 181, not too bad, not something outstanding. 2,237 continued to drop, and from my projection, they were a few short. They were about 6 vehicles short. LC, same thing, same behavior, 154. For December, 1,761. I projected 1,753, so they outpaced it a little bit, but compared to 2021, it's still 1,000 short. But I guess there's a lot more options out there right now. RC, same behavior, 169 December. And when you look at this, 1,752, still the lowest of all the years that we see here. And from my projection, they outpaced it a little bit. Then we move on to the battery electric BEV, the RZ. They sold 1,025. Not too bad if you look at it compared to the previous months, right? 5,386. I projected only 4,846, so they outpaced that in no time. If you're a person who doesn't need a lot of range, and if you drive within the city, the RZ would actually work quite well. Like, if I only drive within the city, I have a second car that I use for long distances, like a plug-in hybrid or a hybrid, that the RZ is actually not a bad car to drive day to day. Because yes, it doesn't have the range of the Teslas or the other battery electric vehicles, but from reviews, it's actually not a bad car to drive. I guess priorities and what you're looking for. All right, let's go back up to the NX. Okay, so the NX, the best year, right? So what is the best year? 74,526. If you look at from 2019 to today, you've never seen 70,000. Like the best was 58. They sold 8,579, the best of the 5 years, and I was only projecting 71,942. So they outpaced that 3,000 units. That's very, very, very good. But let's move down to the NX and look at the total, right? I actually marked 8,579 as the best, but look in 2018, 8,764. So they were still about 190 units under from 2018. So they could have been more, but they didn't beat it. But still, when you look at it, the best of the 5, like of the full NX portfolio years, 62,000, they raised that bar now. 12,000 more units. So 74,526. Congratulations to the NX. And I believe the NX has been much better than the previous generation. And maybe that is why they've been doing much better. So 74,526, great. But when you look at the RX, it's still under that. I wonder one day, maybe 2025, will the NX and the RX be like at par, where the both NX and RX will be selling over 100,000 units? It's going to be hard to say. If the NX gets a refresh and that refresh hooks on very well, it's possible that the NX can continue to break that record. And it'll go to 80, 90,000, and it'll be very close to 100,000. We will see how the NX goes and challenges the big brother RX. All right, so now the RX, we see it here, 12,248 units in December, didn't break the 2020 record, but when you look at the numbers, it was very, very close to the 2021 number, 114,000 units. So at least they've sold over the 100,000 unit number again. Last year it went under, and then now they're very close to the 2021 record here. So I think they're good. When you look at my projection, 111,938, they've outsold that as well. So congratulations to the RX as well. Now moving over to the GX. So the GX, the new one hasn't been out yet, but I guess a lot of people are trying to get the last of the V8s, right? 4,256, best of the 5 years, and 31,910. So there were only 600 units under compared to the record here, but close. 30,168 was my projection, and it seems like they've gone beyond that as well for the GX. All right, and then we move over to the LX. LX has been a great year overall already. When you look at it, breaking records from February all the way to November, it was hard to break the 821. They only did that once in March, so they only did 585 in December and 6,959 units. My projection was 6,953, very, very close, and they've actually done quite well overall here. But they didn't say that it was the best year for the LX, so they've sold more LXs prior to 2019. Now, the new family beast, the TX, the 3-row SUV, they sold 3,734 in December. No references back there. I had 6,701. Now they sold 8,201 units. Not bad, right? So, actually, very good overall. And I would say that actually helped a lot because this new, like the TX and the RZ, really helps push that number. Because if you think of it, when you think of it, 3,000 plus 1,000, that's like almost 5,000 per month. That's 50,000 units already. So that definitely will help. And when you look at that, if you have 50,000 more cars, that's a lot. So when you look at the TX, if they continue to have this momentum of 3,000 units, you're talking about 36,000 more cars, which means that will help this push to new records in the total of the year. So let's go come down and look at the total. So we see here 320,249. So I projected only 308,000. So definitely much better than projected. But December was not as good as 2020 with 38,000. But when you look at the past 5 years, it broke all those records. But when you look into since 2012, okay? So 2015, they sold 344,000. So they're still 20,000, 24,000 under 2015. And they still didn't beat 2016. They've only beat since 2017. I think to sum up, they have done a good job overall because overall, when they look at it since 2017, it's still many years. It's like 7 years ago, and they've done much better overall. And they weren't too far away from the 2015 number here. So, what I would say is probably 2024 because they're about 24,000 units under. If the TX continues to have that momentum, if you look at 10 months of 3,000 units, that's 30,000. So that will bring it to 35. So it is possible that we will see a record-breaking year for 2024 as well. And if they have the new GX coming out, and if that is going to sell very well, that will also give good numbers as well. All right, so let's continue down. I've actually have more information about electrification here. So you can see that we've talked about the NX total life and they've done much better. But now let's look at the NX 450h Plus. So they sold 18 in 2021, 3,500 in 2022, and I was one of the lucky ones here. 2023, 5,265. All right, so definitely they sold more, they produced more, which is good, but I think from some people, still not enough, right? So when you look at it, 5,265 is about 7% of the 74,000 vehicles that they've sold. So not a lot. So they really haven't moved up more NX 450h Pluses because they sold 47,000 compared to 49,000, right? And it's only 7% of the portfolio. So they really haven't pushed more plug-in hybrids out. So when you look into the hybrids, 21,435 units. That's about 28.76% of the 47,000 units. Compared to last year, same thing. They really haven't moved that needle up. So meaning they haven't like say, okay, let's push more hybrids out. It's about the same. It's 0.4% more. Okay, I'm hoping Lexus, Toyota, you guys need to move this bar. The plug-in hybrid, move it to 10 to 15%. Hybrids, try to push that to 50%. So meaning your electrified NXs will be at least 50% of the sales. I think that will satisfy the market much more than what we're seeing here. Right now, we're only looking at like 35%. Still far, far, far from what the demand really is. So we look at the same thing, the RX plug-in hybrid. So this one is a little bit more tricky. So, okay, so I assumed that they start selling the plug-in hybrid, the 450h Plus, starting October. Okay, so I only took these 3 months, and they sold 656, and I took the number of sales that they did between those 3 months, and we're talking about 2.15%. So even less than the 7% that we're seeing on the NX. I would say it's not fair at this point to evaluate, but I'm hoping that this will at least be 7%. But at this point, it's not yet. Okay, so percentage wise, it's probably because they didn't sell in October and they start selling like mid-October or November timeframe, and those numbers will change that. All right, so let me go and remove the October and see what that actually means. So even if they remove October, that just changes it to 2.99. So I don't think that actually makes any differences here. So I'm just going to keep it to whatever we think it is. Okay, 2.15%. They need to do better on the RX. But again, maybe it's too expensive too. All right, the RX hybrid, 32,965 units were sold, and we're looking at about almost 29%. So you can see the NX and the RX percentages are very close. But when you look at these two together, that's only 30% of their portfolio, right? So it's still not close enough. And then we look at the TX. So they start selling the TX October timeframe. So we did the same formula here. We took whatever they sold, and 1,155 were hybrids, so 14% were hybrids. So that's still far from the 28% to 29% we're seeing in the RX and the NX. So hopefully this will change. We'll see more TX's hybrids coming out, but at this point, it's still 14%. So looking at the Toyota and Lexus numbers, let's look at other vehicles that we typically don't talk about. Okay, so they sold about 232,370 Corollas. They sold almost 300,000 Camrys. So next year, when they actually have the Camry hybrid, the portfolio of electrification definitely will increase, because if they can sell almost 300,000 hybrids, that's very good. So then when we look into here, the Venza, 30,000, the RAV4, the best-selling SUV, 434,000, that's up 9%, and 8.8% based on volume. And then when we look into the Corolla Cross, 71,000, not bad as well. Highlander, 169,000, you can definitely see Highlander's been dropping. Then we look into the Tacoma, 234,000, dropped 1.1%, but still holding on very well. And then we look at the TX, okay? So let's look at the Grand Highlander. So they sold 48,000 Grand Highlanders already. That's crazy. Just for a few months, they sold 48,000 already. But when you look at the proportions, 8,000 to 3,000, they're not too bad. The TX is actually doing quite well. Because when you look at it, the RAV4 sold 434,000 compared to the 70,000. That's still a small percentage. The NX is still a small percentage of the RAV4. But when you look into the 8,000 compared to the 40,000, still a small percentage. But when you look at the output, it's still not too bad. So then they sold about 2,737 Mirais. Not bad, especially for technology that seems to be having forgotten about. So not too bad. The Crown, they sold 19,000, not too bad for a start. And the new Prius, 38,000, again, not bad for a start. And then we look at the BZ4X, they sold 9,329. So if we compare that to the RZ, they sold 5,000. Interestingly, that the RZ is actually looking at doing better than the BZ4X. Maybe it's the price. The BZ4X is not a cheap vehicle as well. The Sienna, 66,000, that's a drop of 4.6%. So still a little bit off. I know that the demand for Sienna is still high. The wait times are high as well. So overall, I would say not bad. And when you look at the Grand Highlander and the Highlander together, that's still not close to the 222,000 vehicles that they usually sell. So for the Lexus division, they're up almost 23.8%, so almost up 25%. that is a good year for Lexus. So now we'll have to see how does that compare to the BMWs, the Mercedes, the Audis, and the other luxury brands, and see if the percentages are good or if Lexus is just hanging there with no real good BEVs. But I think overall, what they have here does show that the multi-pronged approach seems to be working. Hopefully that you found that this video was informative, and congratulations to Lexus and Toyota again. And until next video, drive safely. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please comment, like, share this video, and if you want to see more videos like this, you can subscribe to my channel and press that bell icon to get notified when new videos are posted. And if you'd like to support this channel, you can provide me a super thanks. And until next time, cheers.